Bernadette. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. I think everybody is unmuted. Is everybody
Tara's on mute. If you can, I don't know if it's possible to unmute her.
I
And
will.
Ornelia's on mute also, it looks like.
Okay.
No, it's they
I
should be able to do it themselves.
yeah, I can unmute myself. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
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 Okay. All right. So, Jeremy, is everybody able to unmute still?
Yeah, no, everybody's able to unmute.
Yep.
The you don't have a quorum yet, but I did. So Salsa Bill, I think you know about. She emailed us, but I just texted Keith and Christine Cruz. We are live streaming, by the way. As far as I know, I'll double check when you're ready to start. But I know Christine um, Vaughn has she has a hard stop at 7:30.
Oh,
So if you want to, so maybe you want to start, and hopefully these other people will jump in for a quorum. If not, at least you'll get to hear from Christine here.
okay. I am seeing, Jeremy, that Tara, you're still unmuted, correct?
No, she's muted.
She is. She's still muted. I cannot unmute all.
I just gave her a request.
Okay. So what's the
I
next?
mean, mute Vinny though. Sometimes when people log in, they don't log in connecting to audio. I don't know if you have a microphone at the bottom left of your screen, Tara.
You might want to close out and come back in again and look. Something might pop out on your
Yeah,
screen.
yeah. If you get a question, if you want to join by computer audio, you want to do that.
Okay. All right. Great. Um, okay. Great. So, I will start the meeting. Thank you all for coming here today. It is now 7:02. So the meeting of the Education, Culture, and Youth Services meeting committee is now to begin. Just a quick protocol. The way it usually works, most of the meetings work, is that we have the committee, uh, and we go through our agenda. And any questions, anything from the public will come in after the committee has asked their questions and we opened it up to the public. So that's about it. So I am Christine. Christine, I'm going to add Superintendent Vaughn. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and just say a little bit about yourselves, and we'll go right into the Q&A because you have to leave, right, at 7:30?
Yeah, so thanks so much for inviting me, Bernadette. I'm really happy to be here with all of you. And yeah, District 11 has another event that's happening right now on Zoom. And so I'm going back and forth between both of them. We have another event focused on right now attendance. We have the Visiting Nurse Services of New York and a lot of different partners that are on talking to families. And so yeah, every Wednesday night we have an event. We have what's nice is one Zoom link for every Wednesday. Everybody uses the same link, which I think works well for our parents. And every week we have parent coordinators that partner with a specialist in their school and they present different topics. So tonight it's on attendance and also crisis, trauma, and mental health. And that's what we
A
do
lot.
every Wednesday night from 6 to 8. And we've had sessions around bereavement. We've had Zumba nights. We're also trying to, get up and move a little bit and just want to be, healthy, especially coming off of the pandemic. But thank you. We had a really great visit recently, and so I'm happy to be here with all of you. As I was speaking earlier, I have just a little bit about me. I've been working in the Department of Education. September makes 30 years for me, if you could believe that.
Wow.
I started I started as a teacher in the district, PS 87, as a substitute teacher, and I just loved it so much. I love this area, I love this district, that I never left. I've done every position, in the Department of Ed, and just really District 11 is home to me. And, it's just a very diverse district. We have, as you know, Morris Park, Van Ness, Pelham Parkway, Castle Hill, City Island, Woodlawn, Baychester, Norwood. I mean, it's such a diverse district. And, I was born in the Bronx. My parents lived on the Grand Concourse. My uncle lived in the Bronx for a long time on Brady Avenue, which I know is close to you, Geraldine. So, I'm born in New York. I still live in New York City. Love District 11, so I'm excited to be here with all of you. It's a large district. It's one of the largest in New York City. We have 38,000 students and we have 45 schools. I was lucky enough to visit one of our schools, the Steambridge School, with you. And again, just all of our schools are exciting places with, really diverse student populations and really strong instructional programs. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me and a little bit about District 11.
Oh my God. God bless you. Keep it going. Keep it going. And you did mention that besides the 45 schools, you also have high schools that you.
Well, I am the District 11 community superintendent, so that's really 3K to grade 8. Now we have another superintendent Cook is the superintendent for our high schools.
Okay. Okay. That's a lot. What I'd like to do next is I'd like for the committee members that are here today, which is Ornella and, if I'm correct, Phyllis. I think Phyllis and Ornella are the only two of our committee people that are here. We have two other committee people that were excused for this evening, and but I do have their questions, so I hope we will get to that. For myself, for everybody who is here, my name is Bernadette Ferrara. I've lived in Van Nest, in the Bronx for my whole life. I've been to parochial school mostly, not with private schools. For my business, I'm a graphic designer by trade. So that's what I've spent my last 35 plus years doing, but also I'm a community leader. I'm on Community Board 11 and president of Van Ness Neighborhood Alliance, and I feel education is the key number one thing to our future, which are children, which is why I chair this, and I'll keep doing it until I can't do it anymore. So, okay, Phyllis, why don't you say a little bit about yourself as an introduction?
Okay, hi, my name is Phyllis Nastasio. I'm a teacher on Morris Park. I teach at St. Francis Xavier School. I've been there 20 years. I was born and raised in the Bronx, always lived here, never plan on leaving. I'm on the community board with Bernadette, and I'm also on the precinct council.
Great. And Ornella? Ornella, are you with us?
Yeah. Hi there. My name is
Could you-
Ornella.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ornella Bishtiri. I live in the community. I was born in Albania, but when I first moved here with my family, this is the community I moved in with my family. Even though they moved away, I came back here because this is where I felt welcome. So here I am.
What do you do for a living, Ornella?
Well, international development. I
Okay,
work in that
great.
field.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, those are our committee members that are here. What I'd like to do is move things along to our questions, because I know I've got my list of questions, but I will only ask one. But I know I also want to get the public and their questions before you have to run off. So Phyllis, do you have questions for the superintendent?
Basically, is there any way for the parents to view the curriculum?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a team, two big teams at every school. One is the school leadership team,
Mhm.
and that is the team that really is responsible for working collaboratively with the administrators, with the principals, with the assistant principal, with teachers. And, you know, a big part of what they're doing is, working on teaching and learning. And so that would be a team. We have a lot of parents that are a part of the school leadership team, and they're learning about all kinds of things related to the school. They're learning about the social emotional work that's happening, the kinds of assessments that schools are giving, and they're also learning about curriculum. So any parent that's really interested in that, I would definitely suggest that they get involved in their school leadership team if they're interested in curriculum and instruction and teaching and learning. I think that would be a great place for them to volunteer. Um, Also, PTAs, in addition to the school leadership team, PTAs, talk about curriculum matters as well. So I would recommend a parent that wanted to know more about curriculum, to really engage the PTA president and the executive board there and have conversations and ask questions, about that. And a lot of schools, like, I mentioned tonight, every Wednesday, we have a engage, empower, and educate night for our families across District 11. And a lot of schools have strong websites and have a lot of curricular resources for parents. That's another good, attending the parent workshops that are happening, as well as, looking at the website. It's really important. Parents during the last 2 years have always been our partners. In the last 2 years, they have worked, right by our side, to help us strengthen English language arts, mathematics, writing, you name it. And so they have really gotten firsthand account on what we're doing, how we're teaching it, and they've been our partners. It's really important that our parents, really understand, what's being taught, as well as, have access to strong resources, which a lot of our schools have.
Good. Is
Oh,
Bernie
you're on
muted?
mute, Brenda.
Sorry. Do you have any other questions, or can we go on to,
Yeah, I'll just ask one. We can go on.
Ornella, do you have a question for the Superintendent Varnon?
Yeah,
Ornella?
sorry, my mute button's taking forever. Okay, so of course, during the pandemic, I mean, schools and educations were affected in many different ways. I just had a general question about how it has, in particular, affected extracurricular activities, and what have schools done or are doing to kind of go back now that we're coming out of the pandemic and sort of going to normal engagement again.
That's a really great question. And, so many of our students had to stop doing the after school activities, and even the activities during the school day that they really loved. So one example of that is many of our schools across the district have very strong music programs. And we have quite a few that have band, and also that have full orchestras. And also sports programs. So those things are back up and running. I'm really proud to say that we had a school today that had their traditional orchestra parent engagement session. So schools are getting back to those courses that we know are extremely important to your children, to our students. So I'm glad to see that things are getting back to normal. We're not totally there, but many schools are going back to those programs.
Okay, I will, Ornella, do you have another question?
No.
Okay. Okay, then I will jump in. I have two questions. Um, I guess my first question is, on March 4th, I was able to see the public hearing and get a sense with the new chancellor. And my feedback was I really like the direction that he's going in, of course, with more parent involvement. Um, and having a combination, I don't know if he's steering away from mayoral control or doing a combination, but I'd like to know what your feedback is on his direction. Then I'll ask my other question.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think his message has been really powerful. I watched um, his televised conversations, and he really feels very strongly around um, strengthening student achievement, strengthening parent support. And so those are all things that are aligned with District 11. So all the things that he speaks about, we're really in favor of, and are just really excited about, moving forward. This past 2 years has been a real challenge for our schools, for our school leaders, for our students, and so we're excited. We're very excited about um, things getting back to normal.
Okay. My second question is with regards to the curriculums in K to 8. Okay. Some of the feedback has been, well, the titles of the critical race theory and DEI, SEL are being taught on university levels, but feedback from some teachers are that that's not true. That a lot of that is seeping into the curriculum from K to 8. And it's going under the guise of equity inclusion or SEL or DEI. And the books like Not My Idea are still in the library for under K to 8. What safeguards or what what have you seen and what safeguards in place for parents that don't want that curriculum in the public schools? How, where are we at with that in the Board of Education? If
So,
I could be
you
so
know,
broad.
yeah, if that's a really great question, and I can speak about District 11, and I will say that I think it's important to really understand critical race theory. And as someone who has a upper level education and has heard of that and learned about that and read had access to text and things like of that nature. I can tell you that that's very different than what is actually happening in our that what I know of what's happening in our schools today. What's happening in our schools today is we're really trying to ensure that our students are proficient. We need our students to be proficient in English language arts, in writing, in speaking, and in listening. And mathematics has never been, it's always been important, but as you all know, mathematics is its own language, and it's really the gateway to higher ed. And we really need, starting from our little people, or the 3K, the pre-K, the 4K, the number sense. We need our children to really understand number sense. I mean, back in the day, we were when I went to school, I don't know if you can relate to this, we did these rote multiplication tables, and we knew
Oh,
that 3 times 8 was 24. And now we need to know exactly, and that's what. But now we need to know what 24 is 8 groups of 3. 24 is 4 groups of 10 and 4 1. We need to understand what does 21 really mean. It's very different from what um, I had access to, and I know many of you can relate. And, mathematics has never been more important. I don't know if you're aware of this, but New York City is being looked at as Silicon Alley. Have you guys heard the term Silicon Alley?
No,
Silicon Valley is in,
yes.
the northern part of California, but New York has so many tech companies right now. Google just bought a space in Lower Manhattan for, you know, one $2.1 billion. There are Walt Disney moved their corporation there. So there's so many things. So bringing in coding, bringing in robotics, making sure we're incorporating those things. And we want our children to be good citizens, and we want them to treat each other respectfully, and we want them, to understand different cultures. And so I think where we're at today is, from my perspective, is really helping, um, and having classrooms where our children, our students are understanding different cultures and able to connect, because that's the real world, of that's the real workforce. Like, you're on a team, you're working with a goal, and you're in New York City, you have people from all over the world. I think we speak 283,000 languages in New York City. So I think a lot, critical race theory is something very different from what, when we look at curriculum, we look at themes, when we get access to, I know there's a unit of study that eighth grade does around the Holocaust. So I think, really bringing in history, making history come alive, and having students really connect with, their classmates, where they're from. And we talk about New York City, the Bronx is so diverse, so I think the role is really, to bring in culture, and to make sure that we are able to connect and relate to one another, to our own identity, and to the identity of, the people that we're in school with, and that we're working with, and that we're collaborating with.
Okay, so there are safeguards in place so that the quality of the curriculums are safeguarded. I mean, is that, I mean, I know you have so many schools, but are there safeguards in place so that teachers don't go off on their own personal agenda? Is that something that um, is talked about? I'm
I
asking, I
haven't,
don't know.
yeah, I haven't heard of, it hasn't gotten to my level,
Okay.
and I do think that, the schools, we have a really strong group of principals across District 11. You have some parents from, one of the schools that has an administrator, that's now a principal. I'm talking about Principal Mustafa. So there's a high caliber, high quality. I'm part of I'm the hiring manager for the principals. So really ensuring that, that the leaders, right, really understand teaching and learning, and really have a strong training program in place, is really important. So in District 11, I would say there's strong curriculum. There's also strong leaders, and there's lots of conversation and lots of training to support, teachers at different levels.
Okay. If a lot of stuff crosses my path, so if I do get feedback, is that something that information I could send to you? If I get feedback from teachers on certain things that don't feel that they should be teaching, is that something I can report back to you on?
Yeah, I think it's important that we have a strong relationship, and we've got to keep the dialogue open. We've got to keep the conversation open, because if we don't, that's when people revert to, well, this is critical race theory, which, I have not seen any critical race theory, in District 11. So I think the conversations are really important.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, okay. I see that we have one of our other board members, Keith. Keith Ramsey. Hi, Keith. Do you have any questions for Superintendent Vaughnan?
Um, well, actually, I just got here late. Thanks, Jeremy. He just reminded me about the meeting, but I do.
Keith, you get all the emails.
Yeah, no. I no. In my email right now, I have like 9,000. I have too many, and what it is, I just get like hundreds a day, and I just don't look at them sometimes. But I'm quite sure, Bernadette, you're absolutely right. I do get it. I cannot blame anybody but myself. But as far as the superintendent is concerned, I did hear her, and I did come in the tail end of this. That critical race theory, or a version of it. Um, this this curriculum that they're teaching, has anybody from the board actually seen this this in action? Because what it is, they call it something, they never say it's critical race theory, but they change it, they change words around. But so what it is, I understand the superintendent has to they have to abide by this thing is going all over the country. What is this? It's a really bad thing. So I'm just asking if anybody has actually seen this curriculum.
I have gotten some feedback with its being labeled equity, inclusion, SEL, DEI. So that's what I'm going to get my facts straight. And if there's any information, I will be bringing it to the superintendent.
Okay, because it's based off of socialist Marxist ideas,
Right.
and what it is, it's very dangerous. So what is, I strongly suggest somebody observe this going on, because I just don't trust it. Not me personally. I just don't trust it, and I don't like it, and I just don't like it.
I'm right there with you.
Okay.
Um, Thank you, Keith. I'm going to ask one of the last question I'm going to ask before I open it up to the public is two of our members that are not here. One of the questions that was asked is the 3K and the 4K programs. Right now, they're not integrated in the universal K. Is there going to be any movement forward to make that much more of an integrated process? Because children at that age, to take them out from one environment to the other, has there been talk about that?
So Bernadette, you're gonna have to explain that a little bit more for me because I'm not
Okay.
understanding the question.
Okay. This was from another member. She wanted to know, for the families, for younger children to switch environments. There, right now, if you wanted to apply to a 3K program, it was in one location. If you wanted to for a 4K, it's in another location. It's not part of the universal pre-K. And the question was, like, in other words, at St. Francis, there is St. Clair's, at the Bronx House. Is there going to be a future process where this is more of a, I guess, a seamless integration so that the child is going from 3K to 4K into kindergarten?
So I think I'll have to do some more research on your question, but I believe you're asking, can we have 3K and 4K where we have kindergarten, first grade, second grade? And I
Yes.
think right now, that's a good question. And I know the Department of Ed and of District 11, when we're picking sites, we're always trying to make sure that those things make sense for parents. But there's
Yes.
also a lot of space issues across the district as well. And I think, 3K is very new and it's very exciting for parents. I know, parents are really very, very excited about 3K and want more 3K, around the district. So let me find out exactly, and maybe we can talk offline about specific programs, like where, so I can just find out more information for you.
Okay. I know.
I know we have 3K and 4K in my school, and
Okay.
they're housed in a separate building. Now, it's up to the parents whether they want to continue on to our kindergarten program or go into the public school kindergarten program. Most of the time, if you're in a 3K, 4K program, you get first priority for that school's kindergarten. So like at 108, the children going to UPK at 108 would have first priority going into kindergarten. So you really don't have to leave unless it's in a situation like Bronx House. Mount Shasta doesn't have any other school with it.
Right,
So
right.
that's the only time, and that's on the parents. They choose their locations. They get, I believe, 5 choices of locations.
Okay. Could I ask whoever is not muted to mute themselves, please?
Yes, that's Ling Wang. If you can please mute yourself.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got that one. Okay, the other question I'm gonna ask, and this is one that was from 2 people, is, let me get my question correct over here, because I did. It's okay. Superintendent Vaughn, from your experience with other community boards, okay, how has the community boards and their education committee best served CEC11? And what's the best way to work in partnership? What are initiatives that we could do that you've seen that have flourished? Like the question with working with other community boards. So that was actually asked by 2 board members, committee
Well,
members.
that's such a great question. And I think going back to, the walk that we did at Steambridge, so
Yes.
partnering like that and really, taking on some of the challenging concerns and getting elected officials involved with some of the things that present just real challenges for our school leaders and our school principals. I mean, that walk together, we were able to really quickly and easily, come to some solutions, talk about next steps because we had, a lot of support there. And so I think those types of conversations are really helpful.
So in other initiatives with other schools and what their challenges are and really try
Yeah.
to
Uh,
pinpoint down specifics.
yeah, and I mean, getting the school leader to kind of also just, name the challenge that they're having. In that particular case, it was, really beautifying an area, you know,
Yeah.
um, that that would really change the daily lives of, students. And so that was, the collaboration and the partnership um, and just the creative, synergy and thinking of all of us coming together and, just really work. So I think that's really helpful from
So,
your point of view and yeah, and the school leader was extremely happy
yeah.
and just felt like, yeah, this is a group that's here to support me and we're going to make this happen.
And we're here to stay, so we're not going anywhere until something gets done. So, those are initiatives. But if there's any other initiatives that you see that work with other community boards, please get it through to me so that I could share it with the rest of the committee members and add it to our list of our goals. So I really would like that. So to expedite our public here. I know that there are other questions that I know that we could have you at your plate right now. So, Vinnie Marie, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself because I know that you have come to our committee before. So, if you have any questions for Superintendent Vaughn, and just a
Yes.
little bit,
Good
a little bit
evening,
about
Ms.
who you are.
Sure. Good evening, Miss Fawn. I'm Vinnie Marie Leone. I'm getting over laryngitis, so pardon my voice. I have been in several meetings with you in the past. I'm a parent at 108. And kudos for hiring Miss Mustafa because she's been amazing at our school. She's done wonders for our community and our school.
Oh, I love
Um,
hearing that.
yeah, she's wonderful. She's changed the dynamic wholeheartedly. I'm basically here, like I've been in the past, just basically advocating for 108 and middle school options in our community. We have sent out several emails, and we're kind of just here for answers. I have some parents also that are attending tonight. I think bottom line is we kind of know that the annex that's currently underway is not taking 108 to a K through 8 school. But we wanted to really look into the option of rezoning. It's a big issue for a lot of our families in this community. We have reached out to Teresa Roberts, who's the president of CEC, and she did mention MS 144 and Pelham Gardens, which are great schools. However, they're on the opposite side of Pelham Parkway for a lot of our families. So geographically, that doesn't work for a lot of families in our community. For example, at one PTA meeting, we had a parent almost in tears because she lives literally a block from 83 and got bounced out of that admission and is stuck to go to 144. She doesn't drive, and her son really can't walk, across Pelham Parkway to that school. So we wanted to just throw out the option of rezoning. We know it's been done in like District 8. So we just wanted to know your take on that, if we can somehow, partner in getting that done. Because like I said, it's a big issue for a lot of our families. I'm specifically a mom of a fourth grader at 108 and a second grader with special needs. So for example, for me, limiting my options of where I'm sending my second grader for public school is another challenge. I need public because he needs his services. So limiting a parent to pick and choose, adds to just the stress of choosing middle school. So we just wanted to throw out the option of rezoning and get your feedback on that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to say hello to all the PS 108 parents that are on the call. Again, and you really stated your case beautifully. And this is the first time I've heard the zoning question. So yeah, so let me take this back and to our district planning to have conversations about it. And I am aware that you've reached out to the CEC. The CEC is also really looking at all those things together. I just want to give a shout out to the CEC11. They are just, as you know, a really great group of parent volunteers. They're doing a lot of work with parents all across the 45 schools. They come from various schools across the district, and they really have the best interest of their families and their parents at the heart of everything they're doing. And so I think, reaching out to them, is a great thing to do. And I know that, prior to the pandemic and during pandemic, we met a few times and had conversations around with district planning around why, the why behind, the school being, kindergarten through grade 5. And we do know that the school is set to open, I want to say in 2025, September 2025. So, we do have some time on this, but I think it's, the planning is important. I know that the original extension plan came from removing the TCUs and the portables that were in the backyard. And really, the quality, of the environment was one that, really needed to bring, really needed to bring those students inside. Um, and the other big piece was, that the school was severely overcrowded. To my understanding, the capacity of the building, as it stands before the extension is somewhere around 375. And I think, there were about 575 students, in the building, so heavily overcrowded. So really taking into account having to bring students from outside in, that's where most of the seats, were going to be going. And so I know we've had conversations around, well, if it doesn't go K-8, and I do think that, there are more conversations to be had about that. Um, where are some other seats? So I know we left off with us coming back to the PTA and having a second meeting or a third meeting. I can't remember where we were with district planning, and we are going to do that. We haven't forgotten that. Um, it's unfortunate, but because of the pandemic, because of the shifts that are going on, the meetings have been put off, but I hear you. I know CEC11 is working on it, and we are going to come back and have a meeting and really look at the zone and look at those seats, more seats that you need. I hope that answers the question. Is there anything else?
No, that's it. Unless Tara, you wanted to mention, it's also like what I've been hearing too is it's, for example, Van Nest. It's so hard for kids to get in there that a lot of times parents have to pull their kids out mid-year in, like, for example, third grade, just to get that spot in Van Nest Academy because it's a lotto. I personally love 108 and I want to maximize my time there, but to feel that struggle, that anxiety to get my child out before even graduating the school just to, get a seat speaks to how hard it is to find a middle school option for our graduating fifth graders at our school.
And I will give a plug to the middle schools across the district because there are some really phenomenal middle schools. And we have 14 standalone middle schools. We mentioned MS 144 and Pelham Academy, which are two of the best middle schools, but there's also 12 others that are equally as fantastic. So every year, what we do have, and I don't know if you have attended or anybody on the call has attended, but we have been having virtual middle school fairs where the whole school comes out and does a presentation on their instructional program, all the sports and arts that are available at the school. And District 11, definitely has some star players. So I definitely would encourage you, to really look at a lot of the options across the district as well. And that's for everybody else that's on the call.
Okay. Okay. Yes, middle schools in our area are like non-existent, and we're owed all those seats, which you've heard over and over again. And
Yeah.
um, uh, in a community, we should be having K-8. We should be having the schools K-8. So anyway, and I hope there is a solution for the families so that they can, work on building what we need here as opposed to taking our children out of our community. So Tara, I see your hand is up.
Hi, thank you. I finally got my mic working, so that's
Great.
Technicality.
yes. I just wanted to piggyback on what Vinnie Marie and Superintendent said. That we are having a PTA meeting on April 28th, and I can send you an invitation. We'd love to have you. We have invited principals from around the district to come and present. We actually have several fifth grade parents on this meeting right now. And I know that they all have the same anxiety that I feel when the middle school offers are about to come out. My daughter's graduating from 108 this year. And I work in a middle school in District 11, and I'm proud of the work that we do. But that doesn't mean that I want to change the mission for 108 parents. I still feel that we should have a school that we can walk to, but the system that is in place now, where if a parent has the means and the desire to travel to any of the other great options, then they can do that also. But to have a school that you can walk to is priceless. It still generates community, a sense of community. Your friends are here, and the proximity to home can't be beat. So my two older kids didn't go to, one didn't go to middle school in District 11, one did. She had a great experience. It wasn't a local school that she could walk to, and you feel that strain. And I don't want to go through it again. And I know a lot of parents on this call feel the same way. So Vinnie Marie said it perfectly. We're looking forward to your partnership in this.
Thank you.
I do want to point out that now more than ever, there is real estate to actually build middle schools, considering that right on Morris Park and Bronxdale, the old Van Ness Lanes, that whole building would be a fantastic middle school. There's a lot of real estate right now that was not that was not available years ago when we were discussing this at our education committee meeting years ago. So, sometimes you have to jump on the opportunities, but I know there has to be a lot of planning. But um, I don't know. We really do have to partner with you on this because our parents and and their children and our middle schools, uh, we do deserve one here. We really do. And I really do hope it's something that if there's anything that we could do to, you know, advance this, even locally with real estate, etc., please, call me. I will try. I will try my best. I'm on the Morris Park bid board. With realtors and business owners, and there's a lot available right now, and we need to jump on the things that are resources of what we need now and what we have needed years ago that we still need now. So, um,
Thank you so much for inviting me, and we'll continue the conversation. I'm going to have to pop off and log on to my other meeting, but I hope everybody has a wonderful night.
Can I ask you before you pop off? Can I ask you that when
Sure.
you have questions to a lot of the answers to the questions, would you just let me know and I will send you an agenda? And even if you can't stay on, just to add, I will make sure everybody who is here will be here so we can continue this. So, and I just want
Sounds
to thank
great.
you. I want to thank you for always being a great guest, really. And your partnership means the most to our community.
Yeah, and I really appreciate all of you. And at the end of the day, really want to have a win-win solution for all of you. It is a great district. 108 is fabulous. And again, I started the call with talking about all of the great schools across District 11 and all of the communities. So I really appreciate all of you. Have a great night.
Could I ask you to stay on for 1 minute? Stay on. I see a hand up. I'm sorry, Diana. Did you want to ask a question?
Hi, thanks. Yes, I'm from the Bronx Park East Community Association. We're in the area around PS 96, the west end of the district. And there's a lot of new development in our neighborhood, a lot of 5 and 6 story buildings going up. And we're really trying to keep an eye on this and follow it. And we're very concerned, like already there isn't enough parking for the teachers. There's no public parking lots in this area. It's a big problem. And we're worried about the schools being quickly overwhelmed as people rent in these new buildings. How do we keep track of the numbers? And is there any way that we can put a halt on some of this development or make it come with adequate parking, adequate school development? And also, I wanted to apologize. I hope you weren't feeling that you were being intimidated about critical race theory, which is a graduate school curriculum. We think accurate history should be taught in our schools, the good and the bad. And we realize that critical race theory is not a subject for elementary schools, middle schools, or even high schools. But information on the numbers and how we keep track of that.
How we keep track of
Population.
new buildings coming up and the amount of parking spots.
Right. How we can make sure that there's going to be enough room in our neighborhood for
the teachers to come and park
and
at their schools.
And that that we have enough room in the schools for the students that will be living in the area because of all the development.
Yeah, so that's something that is a big focus around district planning. And so really looking at enrollment patterns and enrollment numbers and looking at the future. I mean, close to 108, there's going to be 2 new Metro North stops, right? And it's going to be the whole area has been rezoned, right? And there is going to be, more apartment buildings and housing coming, to that area in the next couple of years. And it's probably going to look drastically different. So in terms of the Department of Ed, there are a lot of people that work on the analysis side of planning seats and things like that. So, we could talk more about that in another meeting, but yeah, that there is a lot of work to be done around that.
So we could get some of that analysis and some of the numbers and projections from the Board of Education, perhaps?
We could have a conversation,
Okay.
about what that looks like. But as far as teacher parking goes, and I hate to be the one to say this,
It's
there's
not a
probably
priority.
never going to be enough teacher
Mm.
parking. And I myself go over to PS 96 and I know PS 105, and it's a really big challenge. So that is if you can find a solution to that, please let me know. And on that note,
Let
I
me
hope
know too.
everybody has a fantastic night. Thank you.
Good
Thank
night,
you so
Christine.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. Are there any other, I know that we still have people here. Are there any other questions that, a point of discussion that we could, bring to light? There's always so many questions.
And
Um,
I agree with what Vinnie Marie was saying. I live in Pelham Gardens near 144, and I teach on Morris Park. The commute is not a fun commute. If you're
No.
taking public transportation, it's not an easy commute at all.
If
And
you're in a
having
car
child-
too.
And I'm in a car, right? I leave extremely early just to beat the traffic.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's anywhere around Pelham Parkway.
Yes.
Anywhere from like 12 o'clock to 3:30, 4 o'clock. I
Mhm.
won't even drive my car around there.
Yeah.
You're always
Yeah.
stuck. It's not, the best is to walk, and that's a long walk.
And
So,
it's not possible. You cannot walk that with a child.
yeah, look what happened to one of our police officers. He was directing traffic and he got run
Right.
over.
And I was going to bring that up in new business. We actually met with the superintendent of charter schools yesterday and with Officer Maderos and DOT to try to figure out a solution for that area.
We're
So we
gonna-
did come up with some. They're going to eliminate some parking during school hours so that the buses can pull in and not block the service road. Because that's where the big issue seems to come. The service road is getting blocked and cars are backing up into Pelham Parkway.
Wow. The service
Yeah.
roads are always blocked. If there's one ambulance that goes down there, forget
Yes.
about it.
Yep.
I mean, it's terrible. It's very
Yeah.
scary. So, but yeah, in different places like London and other areas, anybody who's directing traffic they're actually put up on a pedestal in a little, in a safety area so that their directing of traffic doesn't, that they don't get overlooked and run over. So
Well, it wasn't an accident. She purposely hit him.
I heard it was just,
Yeah.
that was,
Yeah.
yeah, a little road rage happening.
Mm-hmm.
Not good. Was she charged?
Yes, she was arrested on the spot.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. You can't have that. I'm sorry. He's lucky that nothing happened.
Right.
With regards to getting back to what Christine Vaughn and what she had said about initiatives, Vinny, I understand that with the rezoning, okay, whenever I hear rezoning, I think of, our city council people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if we could maybe have maybe a walkthrough that like we had a walkthrough at PS 41. Both city council people were supposed to be there, but Marjorie was she was the most important because it's 100% in her jurisdiction. But it's good to have both because you never know where the funding can come from. But with the rezoning, I'm wondering if they might play a part as to know how to sort of open up to get things started. Have you had a walkthrough with the new principal and the city council person yet at 108?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
No. Can I actually jump in on that?
sure.
Mhm.
Yes, Tara.
The CEC actually handles rezoning, I believe, for the DOE, and our CEC representative, Melissa Rosado Taveras, has met with our principal. I don't believe that they discussed rezoning, but she is aware of our issues.
So ask if she feels that a city council person should be a part of that discussion.
It can't
And
hurt.
no,
Marjorie
no.
can only help the situation, so I would reach out to her anyway.
Yeah, and we could, work with who you feel would be, I know we had our CEC 11 liaison come at last, I think it was last September. Oh, I forgot when, but we had a previous meeting with our CEC liaison, and then we just had the walkthrough on March 23rd. And we got a lot done just in a 20-minute discussion, which was wonderful. And then a very quick walkthrough because everybody had to, within an hour had to leave. So see if she feels that the CEC 11 should be a part of it. The district, city council person.
Yeah, we've established a relationship with Marjorie. She
Good.
knows also how we feel about this issue, and she has pledged to support us. So I wouldn't mind reaching out to her manager again to schedule something.
Yes.
She's great. So
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, okay. I think you should because, while rezoning could be a part of the Board of Education, like you said, but it's also it has to deal with the city. So, and if you want to push, if you want to be efficient and expedite, you get everybody jumping in and being at the same table. Because that should, you're talking about building above, am I correct? For the rezoning?
sorry, say that again.
The rezoning is basically for building above for additional classrooms. Is that why you were talking about
Oh,
rezoning?
no, I meant redrawing the line so that our zone middle school is not all the way
Oh.
over across Pelham Parkway, Allerton, Gun Hill, that it's this side of Pelham Parkway, either 83, Van Nest, one of those.
Oh, okay,
that's-
okay.
Yeah.
All right, I apologize. When I think of rezoning, I think of building height.
Oh,
Okay, because rezoning is either R5, 6, and whatever, has that ever been talked about, building higher than what they are at, the fifth level I'm sure that's been brought up.
when before the construction on the annex started, when it was still an idea, and before we saw the blueprints, we had meetings with all of the powers that be. We met with Office of District Planning, with Christine Vaughn and her entire team, former Chancellor Misha, and we discussed everything. We laid it on the table, and they gave us a lot of data about the need for elementary seats in the district. And it's true that 108 is overcrowded. We're over capacity. But at that point, the plans had been drawn and there wasn't any, I guess,
Leeway?
motivation to change that so suddenly. So that's
I
where.
mean, you can only go to a certain height with a school because the kids have to go up and down the stairs. They're not going to be able to take an elevator or anything like that. But this just leads to the fact that we need another school in our community.
Exactly. We don't need another development. We need another
Right.
school.
We need a
So-
school.
Well, look at PS 83. How many levels are they? Are there five or six 6 floors?
I'm not sure. I don't
Yeah.
think it's 6.
It might be 5. Okay.
5? Yeah, okay.
Okay. So yeah, we definitely need another school. And like I said, if like Diana, what you said, they're building a 5-story development. Why can't that, why can't the city build a 5-story school? I mean, I understand it's not a moneymaker, whatever, but the resources of what our community needs are things for our children. We need 83 is overcrowded, 105 is overcrowded, 108 is overcrowded. What is that telling you? There are families that are here. We don't want to go outside of our community. That's why I get very upset with PS 481 because PS 481, when I went to school, we didn't have pre-K, we had pre-K, kindergarten, up to 8th grade, 2 classes each. Okay. And it serviced all of Van Nest, Morris Park, etc. It had at least 500 to 575 students. you give or take 50, 25 or whatever. It was so neat. And then we went on to high school. I mean, the parents were okay. My kids are staying here. They're getting what they need. I don't have to stress. So the problem with PS41 is that the Archdiocese still owns it. So we have been trying to come out with a way around it to maybe, I've talked about that with Christine Vaughn, and to take the sex education and keep it as a remote, take it off premise and keep it as a remote opt-in or opt-out subject, curriculum,
Mhm.
so that it could go from K to 8. So removing the obstacle, the issue of controversy here, at the cost of our children. So, to me, that whole, it's wasted. I just feel that it's not serving the purpose. But
Mhm.
it's still, I don't really know what the solution is.
Right. And
Uh,
Bernadette, also, when you said, families want to stay here, I can't tell you how many families moved away,
Yeah,
just in our
Yep.
own community because of lack of
Yeah.
middle school options.
I,
I mean, personally, I'm a nervous wreck. I mean, I have a couple of years, but my little guy needs special services. And, the stressor kind of closes in on me because where am I going?
Mhm.
where's your child gonna go?
Yeah.
Yeah, children, 1, 2, 3. Sylvia, I see you have your hand up. If you could unmute yourself.
Yes. Hi, Bernadette. Thank you.
Hi.
Just to share something that I was just telling Tara, it's basically, it just adds to that overcrowdedness. And when Vaughn said, there's a lot of great schools in our district, and she's completely right. I work at Pelham Academy. It's a great school. However, we haven't gotten rid of the whole zoning thing. And at 108, whoever lives near there, we're zoned to 108. But when it comes to middle school, if I want to send my child to Pelham Academy, it's considered quote unquote too far. So they are going to give preference to the kids who are
Zoned.
closer to that school. And because of overcrowdedness, of course, they already select their 300, 320 kids that they
Mhm.
have to select from that location. That's a preference, kids from the area. So she's right. There's great middle schools, but good luck getting into them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
It's
have
like
to
this.
place all 12 good middle schools as number one. That's impossible.
Mhm.
Well, that's also a game that,
Yeah.
it
I
probably will
agree.
work in your advantage because they know that everybody will do that.
And
But
like Vinnie Marie said, families are moving. I was one of them. I've been going from Long Island to now Pelham, New York. So this is our second week at Pelham.
that's
And my kids
this.
just started school first day this Monday. So I kept apologizing to them. I'm like, I am so sorry. I'm trying to make it up to you. Long Island didn't work out, but I'm hoping that this is it. Pelham, we're staying here. We're not moving. So it's just getting shoved around, and you want to stay in your community and you can't because you want the best for your kids too. So what's going to come first? Your kids, of course.
Oh, your kids, of course. But this breaks my heart because when you have community first and your community is important, that's why you have people that are on the community board. We're all volunteers. We all have our different experiences. We all have our different roots in the community and different areas. And we know the importance of what community is, but we also know how important it is to have our families stay here and have our children educated here. I'm in the same house that I grew up in when I was growing up in Van Ness. I'm a block away from the school. I walked to school every day. I knew my community. I knew my teachers. It you my heart breaks that that's at least something like that or something close to that is not, it's not happening. And it's wrong. And this is why staying in the education committee is important to me personally, because I understand it. And I think that that's why I felt having the city council person, having Marjorie, She needs to be more involved with 108. She needs to know, what can you do to help us get another school? If we cannot have 105, it's breaking at the seams. Where can we get another school? What can you do to get this resource? And this is something that needs to be a priority on her list. So the city council can do that.
I know with my school, like I said, I teach at St. Francis Xavier. We start with the 3K and we go all the way up to 8th grade. Our kids build friendships that go on for years. My daughter is 28 and is still friends with the kids she went to St. Francis with. It's just a whole different atmosphere when you're together for so long. High school is 4 years. It's short. You're in and out.
Yeah,
This is where you build lifelong friendships.
that's true. And community friendships too.
Yeah.
Community. I'm still friends with with young ladies that I went to school with in 5th grade. We were 5 years old.
So am I.
And
Yeah.
they're all over the place, and
Mhm.
we still get together. And those are friendships that I made a few in high school, but elementary. So you
Yep.
got these kids going up to 4th grade, 5th grade, and they have their friends. Their social thing is important, and
Yes.
you have to take them totally out and put them somewhere else.
Right.
That is,
Now we're going into SEL. Kids need consistency.
yes. And
I actually have a question.
go ahead.
Speaking from like a public school parent, like for example, 108 or K through 5, if I was to put my son, St. Clair's, St. Francis, how do
Mhm.
those kids pair up? Because I'm sure clicks are made, right? Here's a brand new kid coming in and
Right.
coming sixth. There's also challenges of curriculum. For example, my nephews in St. Clair's get a foreign language. We don't get that at 108. You guys teach cursive. We don't get that at 108. So now I'm thinking like all these extra challenges that these incoming public school kids have for middle school, brand new school, brand new environment, brand new kids.
It's seamless. It really is. In
Okay.
6th grade, we always get an influx of new kids. We just got a whole bunch from City Islands, from PS75 that came to us. And the parents had the same issues. The kids have been taking Italian because I teach Italian. They start in 3rd grade. Now this year they started in 2nd grade. How is my child going to catch up if these other kids have been taking it all along? They caught up. They're A students. There's really, the kids are accepting. They welcome new students into the schools.
Okay.
So, it's a good atmosphere.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
I really, Vinnie Marie and Tara, if you can, before this June comes around, if you can sort of set up, if you want to, please include me, and I'll extend it to other committee members who want to be a part of this, to really, really support.
Absolutely.
Get the city council person there, or get whoever you feel needs to always revisit. Do not let things fall through the cracks. That's why I wanted to make sure with Superintendent Vaughn that a lot of the things that she said she would get back on, that we'll have her back when she has more answers to these questions, because these are important questions.
Yeah. And also, Berna, I just want to mention one thing. The Catholic schools do not only accept Catholic students. We accept any religion and we teach every religion.
So, and am I correct? Because I'm not as involved present day with the Catholic schools. If can they opt out of the religious instruction if they
No,
feel?
because it's not just Catholicism that's taught. They learn about Islam, they learn about Buddhism, they learn about Judaism, they learn about all the religions.
Okay, so
You can't opt out of the class, but when we go to church first Fridays, you don't have to participate in the mass.
Okay. Okay, it's good to know. When
One
I was
last
going,
question. Special education in Catholic. You
We
guys
don't have special ed, but we are a Title I school. We have a pull-out program that's run by Catapult. And we do have a school counselor.
Okay.
And she goes into the classes once a week, and she does also pull out the children for one-on-one sessions.
Got it. Okay.
I'm smiling because when I was going to school, the school counselors were the nuns. They taught, they were the counselor, and then
Yeah.
the priest would come in and he'd be another counselor. And I was like, oh,
You know, with everything going on today with the pandemic and the kids just coming back in,
yeah.
we felt we needed to have someone there for the kids to talk to. And the kids
Yes.
love her. She's really great.
Yeah, yeah. That
And the
that's so
reason we
important.
chose Italian as our language, excuse my dog barking in the background. We chose Italian because most students are Spanish speaking already. So now they're leaving 8th grade with 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Italian.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Um, but and going back to Tara and please put the request for buildings. How do we start? Where do we start with the request for buildings for schools? Um, you know, that
Yeah.
is that is important. So, okay, Diana, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that in terms of building the schools and building the schools higher, I think that now any new construction has to be ADA compliant.
Yes, it
Means that
does.
they have to have elevators, even if it's only 2 stories. And that's,
Or ramps, elevators or ramps.
yeah, and that's a
Yeah.
much greater cost.
Mm-hmm.
But I also wanted to ask again about the parking problem, because my understanding is that there are teachers that are leaving
Oh my
because
God.
parking is so bad. It forces them to come in hours early
And
and
add to
they
their
already
full day.
have like an hour commute, some of them or more.
Yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off. I know Bloomberg, no, Bloomberg removed those passes years
Mhm.
ago.
The
And
placards,
then
parking placards.
Right.
de Blasio implemented those parking passes for staff again, but not every school got those passes. So I contacted DOT. This is when I was working at a school in Washington Heights. And I wanted information like, well, how do we go about getting the passes? How come my school didn't get them? There's more to it, apparently. The school has to have a specific street sign on the sidewalk saying whatever, DOE staff or employee parking only
Yes.
from like 7 to 4.
Mhm.
Okay, so then I asked like, okay, so how do we get those? So then DOT says, well, we are not installing signs anymore. So I'm like, oh, great. So we solved an issue. We're now getting the passes, but now the other issue is, they're not putting up signs anymore.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's like one roadblock after another.
And then there's some issue too with a section that they leave. There's no parking because they have to leave it for the school buses. But
Oh God.
the school buses are only there for a brief amount of time. They don't stay parked there. It's just to drop off.
That's a
So
waste. I mean, half the time the school buses are double parked somewhere. Why would they take those spaces away from the teachers that need it?
right.
So
I know I'm
was-
at my desk at 7 o'clock in the morning and I live literally 7 minutes away. But I get there at 7 a.m. to make sure I get a parking space.
Mm-hmm.
God. So
Yeah.
I was just going to ask the question, what Sylvia was saying. What about, I mean, I know by like here for PS 41, there's no parking between up until 4 o'clock.
Right.
So, but if you're a teacher and you had a particular pass, would that allow?
You would be able to park there. Yes.
So why are these teachers? I mean, this is definitely something, Diana, that you could bring up to their PTA. That have they gone that route already? And we, Keith Kalb is the acting DOT commissioner. It could be brought up to Community Board 11 somehow that we can break this stupid roadblock of teachers not getting parking passes. I mean, how absurd
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah, I'll find out the specific situation with the passes and DOT for around our area.
Diana, do they have a playground? A large playground for the kids?
They have a playground, but there's parking on either side of it already, residential
Okay.
parking that's filled. And then the playground is where they line up in the morning before they go in. And then they have they use the playground
Okay.
throughout the
Yeah.
day a lot. So they couldn't
Yeah.
park on the playground.
Well, we at PS41, just so you know, they put a part of the playground for teacher parking.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they have
The
parallel.
playground isn't large enough
Yeah.
to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be. This is something. I mean, it's 96, right? You're talking about.
Right.
We could maybe have a meeting also with the principal there, and maybe do a group meeting. Set up a walkthrough or just set up a meeting to address a lot of these issues. I mean, what I would like to do as chair is to be active in all of the schools that are part of Community Board 11. I mean, and be active in try to expedite the problems, and be
thank
be an
you.
advocate.
That's really nice, Bernadette. Thanks.
That's why, I mean, I just think it's important. This is why, I mean, when I first came on the community board, after working in Manhattan, I could only be on one committee. I said, that's it. I can't be on three. I'll be a nervous wreck. It's too stressful. I can't even get there at 7:00. But I said, education is where my heart is. So, I want to make this a committee that actually reaches goals and helps each one of the schools. And it should not just be the public schools, it's got to be the parochial schools also.
And the charter schools. Well, everybody.
Yes,
We're
it's important.
community. It has to help the community.
Yeah, so, and to me, it's involvement.
Mhm.
You get the different players. You get the city council person, you get the advocates, you get the PTA, you get the important players need to be a part of this, and it's more than just one conversation. So that's sort of how I see the future of this committee, and I would love it to be something that actually reaches a lot of goals and gets the things that are needed for our community.
Yes,
That's
I agree
it.
100%.
Yeah. Rah, rah, cheerleader, So are there any other questions? I see a lot of other people here. Please feel free to raise your hand or just jump in. Okay. Going once, going twice. So I'm going to just say, it is now 8:17, and I would like to adjourn this meeting. But before I do that, I would like to say thank you to everybody who came on here, especially a lot of Vinnie Marie. I know you and Tara are great with your PTA, and I think it's wonderful. I just hope that we can get what 8108 needs. I hope we could get to the any other schools that want to be a part of this. Please, I will try to send the agenda out to a lot of the schools. That's a job that I will definitely do. I think it's important. And to get the people to answer questions. I just want to thank everybody tonight. And again, there's no questions. Okay. Want to thank everybody tonight. And I want to say, please come back to each one of these the education meetings with more information. Be an active part, whether you're public or a committee. And as a group, we can get all things done for our community. And I just want to thank you for everybody's participation. So I will say good night, everybody. And it's 8:18.
Good night.
And this meeting is now adjourned. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Right.